Start with one Om and Hanuman Chalisa. Shri Guru Charan Saroj Raj Nij Mana Mukur Sudhari Varanau Raghuvar Vimal Jasu Jodayak Phalachari Buddhihin Tanu Janike Sumira Pavan Kumar Bala Buddhi Vidya Devu Mohi Harahu Kale Savikar. जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धाम अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नाम महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन वरण विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाए संजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत सब भाई सहस वदन तुम्हरो जस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा यम कुबेर दिगपाल चहाते कवि कोविद कहि सके कहते तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही की आज पद दीना तुम शरण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना युग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर फल जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मिलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी शरणा तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज समारो आपे तीनों लोक हांकते कापे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासै रोग हरे सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा संकट से हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे चारों युग परताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साध संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नव निधि के दाता भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे, अंत काल रघुवरपुर जाए, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाए, और देवता चित्त न धरई, हनुमत से ही सर्व सुख करई, संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरै हनुमत बलबीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई, जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई, छूटहि बंधि महासुख होय, जो यह पढ़े हनुमान होय सिद्धि साखी गौरी सा, तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा, की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा, की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप, राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुरभूप। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। पवन पुत्र हनुमान की जय। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः, ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः, ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं, नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं, सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं। Hari Om. Hari Om everyone online, and Hari Om everyone on Facebook. We're trying a new thing. This is like a multi-pronged hybrid approach. So we'll see how it goes. It is really nice to be back in class with everybody that is joining back again. And those who are joining for the first time, welcome. This class is old yet new. It's been going on for a long time, and yet it is also starting today. So we started with Hanuman Chalisa because it is said that wherever the glories of Bhagavan Sri Rama are sung, over there, Hanumanji, with his hands together, he comes, and with his eyes filled with tears, he listens to that Ram Katha, wherever it is going on. So we do pranams to Hanumanji, that Hanumanji who puts an end to all the Rakshasas, who destroys all the Rakshasas. And one day, maybe he might come and join us in our Ramayana Satsanga, who knows? So we invite him with our heartfelt pranams. Okay, let us start with a little bit of thinking. When you go to sleep at night, or you wake up in the morning, what are the kinds of thoughts that bother you? Or during the day? Do you think of things like, I wonder when I'm going to know that my nature is Satchitananda. I wonder when this world was created. Oh, no, not created, manifested. I wonder, what it means to say that Bhagavan is infinite. And everyone wonders these kinds of questions when you wake up and you go to sleep? Or you think, I don't like how that person spoke to me. I don't know why they were mean to me. I wonder, whether I'm going to get what I like to eat for lunch tomorrow. Which questions do we wake up and go to sleep thinking? Really speaking. We call ourselves the intellectual generation, especially my age and around and under and all of that, right? We say we're the intellectual generation. But really speaking, it is not intellectual questions that plague us. Questions of our heart. It is emotional questions that disturb us, that bring sorrow to our life, that make us feel lack of peace of mind, that take away our calmness. So actually, our problem is emotional. It is not intellectual. We have it all wrong. right? So, this Ramayana that we study is one of the best things that is there to help our heart. There are so many shastras. There are so many different types of scriptures in Hinduism, in Sanatana Dharma. But the Ramayana and the Bhagavatam have a special place in doing something to our heart that no other shastra can do. And for the problems of today that plague us, the disturbance of mind and the agitations, this is the remedy, actually. This is the panacea for all human problems in that way. So, we will do a little bit of introduction to Ramayana today, and then we will continue. When Bhagavan Sri Rama was leaving for Saket Lok at the end of his avatar, he took everybody with him. Everybody in Ayodhya went with him. I think you all know that, right? At that time, Hanumanji said to Sri Ram that he wants to stay here. Here means in this samsara. Who wants to do that? Why would Hanumanji want to stay here? He said it is because he wants to stay here to listen to Ram Katha. That means in Hanumanji's mind, this Ramayana is the greatest thing ever. It is even greater than being with Bhagavan Sri Ram in Saket Lok. Being here to listen to his story. Now there are hundreds of reasons why this Ramayana is so great. But really speaking, no matter what anybody says, we have to taste the nectar of this Ramayana for ourselves. Then only we will really know what its greatness is. So let us start back up. What is Ramayana? Ramayana literally means the ayanam of Rama. Ramasya ayanam. Right? Ayana means abode. Abode means a place to stay. So Ramayana is the place where Bhagavan Sri Rama stays. That is what the word means. If someone wants to know where Swamiji lives or where Brahmachari Dvajot lives, they will ask, where do they live? The place where they live helps you to get to them, right? So if I want to meet Bhagavan Sri Ram, where can I meet him? I can meet him in Ramayana. That is his abode. But Ayanam also means the path. Because what good is an address if you don't know how to get there? During the 108 nights of Bhagavad Gita here in Guyana, in the very beginning, before I reached Guyana, we were calling the mandirs one by one to get information about, the timing and sorting out all the details and all. And one question that we had to ask was, what is the mandir address? So we could put it on the flyer. And the most common answer that I got, for example, if the mandir's name was Good Hope Devi Mandir, right? For example, then I would ask, okay, what's the address? And they will tell me the address is Good Hope Devi Mandir. And I'm like, no, that's the mandir name. I want the address. And they're like, that is only the address. It's the same thing. Because once you know the address, you find the place automatically, right? You get there and then either it's on the main road or someone will tell you, oh, it's on this street or that street, right? So just like the name of the mandir is the destination and the address to get there at the same time, in the same way, Ramayana is both where we meet Bhagavan and how to get there as well. So Ramayana is both. Now, who wrote this Ramayana and when? The answer should be straightforward when you ask about the author of a text. There is one author of a text, but the answer is very complicated when it comes to this Ramayana. The first written form of Ramayana was written by Valmiki Rishi. Valmiki Rishi was a contemporary of Bhagavan Sri Rama. In fact, they met when Bhagavan Sri Rama had gone to the forest. He met Valmiki Rishi. And Valmiki Rishi and Bhagavan Sri Ram lived more than thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. Right? This Ramayana is called Srimad Valmiki Ramayana. It is called Valmiki Ramayana. It is also called Sita Charita. I don't know if you know that. It is also called Sita Charita. And it is written in Sanskrit. And there is a wonderful shloka that explains how When the Vedas found out that Brahman, which they have been glorifying this whole time, is going to take avatar in the home of Dashratha, the Vedas decided that they were also going to take form as Ramayana to come and glorify Brahman in the form of Bhagavan Sri Rama. So really speaking, Valmiki Ji's Ramayana is a incarnation of the Vedas, so to say, that came to describe Brahman in the form of Bhagavan Sri Rama himself. Valmiki Ji's Ramayana has 24,000 shlokas. And if you're quick at math, you can quickly realize that is more than 30 times the number of verses in Bhagavad Gita. So if it took us 108 days, which is just about 4 months, to finish Bhagavad Gita 700 verses, if we were to do Valmiki Ramayana in that style, well, I think mathematically that would be like 10 years of every single day at that pace. That is just touching the surface of this Valmiki Ramayana, right? Now, after Valmiki Ji's Ramayana was written, because it glorifies Bhagavan Ram, hundreds, if not thousands of Ramayanas were written after that. In fact, you can probably make a book the size of a Ramayana with just the names of different Ramayanas that exist in the world, because there are so many Ramayanas. Some of the most famous ones will be Veda Vyasaji's Ramayana. Veda Vyasaji is contemporary of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. He wrote Adhyatma Ramayana. Adhyatma Ramayana is also in Sanskrit. Then another really famous one is Kamba Ramayana, written by Kamba Rishi. This is famous in South India, and it is written in Tamil. And it follows the same outline as Valmiki Ji's Ramayana. Then the most popular one now, in today's day and age, in the most recent composition, will be Tulsidasji's Ramcharita Manas. The Tulsidasji's Ramayana is called officially Ramcharit Manas, and it is composed in Awadhi. In the Caribbean, there is one more famous Ramayana called Jvala Prasad Ramayana. What the Jvala Prasad Ramayana is, it's really interesting. Wherever Tulsidasji referenced a story but didn't tell it, Jvala Prasadji went and found the reference for that, and he took that story and he wrote it in the same meter as Tulsidasji, and he inserted it into Tulsidasji's Ramayana so people could get the backstory while they're getting the story. That is called Jvala Prasad Ramayana. So these are some of the Ramayanas that exist, and in this class, this Ramayana class, we will be focusing on Tulsidasji's Ramayana, which is Ramcharit Manas, and it is also called Tulsi Krita Ramayana. The Ramayana that is composed by Tulsidasji. Now, one word of caution. When people hear that there are different Ramayanas, then they start to think, well, let us do a comparative analysis and let us see the differences between them. And it is not good to do that kind of thing, to try to make them make sense together, because I hope everybody knows, in Sanatana Dharma, time is not linear. Time is cyclical. Right? So we have Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga, Pralaya. Then again Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga, Pralaya. Like that. In every single kalpa of Treta Yuga, Ramayana happens. Bhagavan Sri Rama comes, there is a Ravana, Bhagavan Sri Rama defeats him, and that whole story plays out every single kalpa. And in each kalpa, it manifests a little bit differently. It never manifests in the same way. The general storyline is always the same, but all the little things are different. So really speaking, we don't know which rishi writing which Ramayana tapped into which kalpa. So you cannot say this Ramayana is correct and this Ramayana is wrong, because they're referencing different kalpas. In fact, in Tulsidasji's Ramayana itself, he references so many different examples of different jivas who became Ravana. In this Ramayana itself, he talks about different jivas who became Ravana in different kalpas. right? So it's not to compare. Each one has their own glory, but we will be focusing on our Tulsidasji's Ramayana. Okay, so we'll start by chanting the Mangalacharan and Sumiran. Now, over the past few days, I have been very inspired by so many people who've taken up the challenge to learn a difficult language in their mind called Sanskrit. And they're overcoming their fears. So I feel like I have to match that a little bit and overcome my fear of playing harmonium. So I'm going to try. If it sounds bad, you blame the people who are inspiring my mind. I haven't tried this before in public, so I'm going to, let's see how it goes, okay? But please open up your Mangalacharan if you have it, and if you don't have it, then from next week you can have it ready, okay? Varnanamartasangana rasanam chandasamapi mangalanam chakartaro vande vani vinayako bhavani shankarau vande shraddha vishwasarupinau yabhyam vinana pashyanti siddha swantastamishwaram vande bodhamayam nityam gurum shankararupinam yamashrito hi vakropi chandra sarvatra vandyate sitarama gunakrama punyaranya viharina vande vishuddha vijnano kavishwara kapishwara udbhava sthiti samhara karini kleshaharini sarvashreyaskarim sitam natoham ramavallavam yanmayavashavarti vishwamakki akilam brahmadidevasura yatsatradam rishabhati sakalam rajayata hiramaha yatpadaplavamekhameva hi bhavam bodhe sitirshavatam vandeham tamasheshakaranakaram Ramakyamesham Harim Nana Purana Nigamagama Sammatam Yame Ramayane Nigadivam Prachadanyatopi Swanta Sukhaya Tulasi Raghunatha Gatha Bhasha Nibandamati Manjula Matanoti Bhasha nibandhamati manjula matanoti Hari Jo sumirata siddhi hoi Gananayaka kari. Never mind. Next time. Let's chant the Sumiran without the harmonium. Jo sumirata siddhi hoi Gananayaka kari varabadana Karau anugraha soi Buddhirasi subhaguna sadana Mukha hoi vachala Dravausak Pangucharai giri varagahana Jasu kripa sudayala Dravau sakala kalimala dahana Nila saroruha syama Taruna aruna varijanayana Karau sumama uradhama Sadachira sagara sayana Kunda indu samadeha Umaramana karunayana Jahidina paraneha Karau kripa mardana mayana Bandha Hari Mahamohatama Punja Jasu Bachan Ravi Kara Nikara Jasu Bachan Ravi Kara Nikara Jasu Bachan Ravi Kara Nikara. That was the Mangalacharan, the auspicious invocation of Balkand, and the Sumiran as well. Okay, now let me share a few things about this Ramayana, Tulsidasji's Ramayana, and a very interesting set of events that led him to compose it in Awadhi. Back in the day, Tulsidasji had a desire to compose his own Ramayana, because his guru had taught him Ramayana and he loved the story. So he started to write it in Sanskrit, which was the traditional means of communicating anything in Shastras at the time. But what happened is, every night, whatever he had written would disappear. Some rats would come and eat up the leaves on which he made his composition. And this happened for like 8 nights straight. He wrote and the rats would eat it up. And he wrote and the rats would eat it up. Right? After 8 days, Bhagavan Shiva came in his dream and told him that he should compose this Ramayana in Awadhi, not in Sanskrit. Because in Awadhi, more people will have easier access to it. So, well, Bhagavan Shiva himself came and told him, so what can he do? He has to listen. So now he started to compose it in Awadhi. And after that, no rats came and ate nothing. His composition was preserved. Now, this concept of writing Ramayana in Awadhi was like blasphemy for the Pandits of the time. Because, corruption in the society and in the system and all of that, they felt that this knowledge should remain with them as Sanskrit speakers, and it shouldn't be given in any ordinary colloquial language. Like when Gurudev had started to teach our Shastras in English, and those Brahmanas came and told him, your tongue will fall off if you speak in English. And he said, well, I will do it 2 times a day then. So there was a sentiment that it shouldn't be composed in Awadhi because it is an insult to the teaching. So what they did, these Pandits, is they took Tulsidasji's Ramayana and they took it to Kashi Vishwanath Mandir. And they put it at the bottom and they put the Vedas on top. And they locked the mandir up. And in the morning, what they found is that this book was on the top. Tulsidasji's Ramayana was on the top. And it was signed by Bhagavan Shiva himself. Now, you may or may not believe this, but this is what we take with Shraddha as the story, right? But that was not enough for them. They needed a peer review. Bhagavan's review was not enough. They needed peer review. So a scholar had to endorse it. So they went to Madhusudana Saraswati ji at the time. And Madhusudana Saraswati ji composed a shloka on Tulsidasji's Ramayana. And he said, in this Kashi, this Varanasi where we are, there is a moving Tulsi. Here there's a play on the word Tulsi. Tulsi means Tulsidasji and Tulsi means the Tulsi plant as well. And he said, on that Tulsi, there is a shining manjari, a shining stem with beautiful flowers. And that shining manjari is this Ramcharitamanas. And just like bees come to extract honey from flowers, there is a bee that comes to extract honey from this flower too. But the bee that comes to this flower is Bhagavan Sri Rama himself. So who am I to endorse this Ramayana? Right? This is the sentiment with which this Ramayana was seen. Now, what to say? These Pandits were still jealous. So they decided to send some thieves to steal it because this Ramayana was so beautiful and they couldn't handle the fact that someone else has composed it. So the story goes that Bhagavan Sri Rama and Lakshmanji themselves came to the hut of Tulsidasji to guard this Ramayana. And these people who came to steal it, they saw Bhagavan Sri Rama and Lakshmana and they became purified and they became bhaktas. But anyways, after all these things that happened, they finally left Tulsidasji alone. And Tulsidasji's reaction, He was sad. He said, what? Bhagavan Sri Ram had to come here and defend this, and I didn't get to see him also? Right? So now, after all these trials and tribulations, after being endorsed by Shivji, after being endorsed by Madhusudana Saraswati ji, after being protected by Bhagavan Sri Rama and Lakshman ji themselves, after surviving the journey over what is called Kalapani to come here to the Caribbean, it has reached us hundreds of years later. And now, when you start to study this Ramayana, you see that actually Tulsidasji says that he did not actually write this Ramayana. He is not the composer of this Ramayana. Really? But we call it Tulsidasji's Ramayana. In this Tulsi Ramayana, Tulsidasji says, Rachi Mahesa Nijamana Saraka. Bhagavan Shiva composed this Ramayana and kept it in his mind. And at the right time, when he found the right time, he gave it to Parvati ji. So he's saying, actually Bhagavan Shiva composed it and I am just penning it on his behalf. So in Tulsidasji's mind, it is Shivji's Ramcharit Manas. Now where does it fit in the Shastras? We have the Shruti, which is the Vedas, that teach us about Brahman and about Dharma. Then we have the Smritis. The Smritis are the remembered texts. That same knowledge of the Vedas is represented in a way that teaches us how to live, how to achieve the goal of human existence, tells us about our purpose. It gives instructions, it gives injunctions, it tells us do this, don't do this. Bhagavad Gita is considered Smriti, right? So there's Shruti and then there's Smriti. Then there's Itihasa. Itihasa is historical texts. Itiha asa, thus it happened. And under this category comes the great epics, Ramayana and Mahabharata. So what happens in these texts is it is the same teaching as our Shruti and our Smriti, but here instead of telling us what to do, they show us how it is done. Everybody who studies Upanishads and studies Bhagavad Gita asks the same question, but how do I make it practical in real life? How do you make this knowledge practical in real life? Because we understand the principle, but we are somehow incapable of applying it or understanding how to apply it. So in the Ramayana, that thing is played out. For example, Bhagavad Gita says you be balanced in joy and sorrow. Sukha dukkhe same kritva. Well, one day Bhagavan Sri Rama was told he's going to be crowned king. And the next day he was told that he's going to be banished to the forest. How was he able to remain balanced in that? How did he act? How did he speak? How did he take it like that? So the Ramayana demonstrates the instructions and the values that are taught in the other Shastras, right? Then, or for example, we're told do not gamble. And then Mahabharata plays out what happens when you gamble. You see? Or Matra Devo Bhava. Be somebody who considers your mother as Bhagavan. How Bhagavan Sri Rama treated Kaikeyi Ma even after what she had done. That is not something you get by the Guru saying, Matra Devo Bhava. You see it enacted and then you understand, oh, I get it. Right? Like this on and on. The demonstration is given in a story form. So the instructions and the injunctions are given a canvas and they're depicted in an elaborate form for us to be able to dwell on and think about and see how we can bring them into our lives. Like our Pujya Swami Prakashananda ji says, Bhagavad Gita is the script and Ramayana is the drama that is enacted. Okay. Then we have Puranas also. The Puranas also take key injunctions from Shastras and play them out, right? But the Puranas are not only based on historical facts. They also include allegorical references. That is a slight difference between those two. Okay. Now next. What is the purpose or the aim of studying this Tulsi Ramayana? It is important for us to know so that we don't superimpose our own ideas on it, right? And the main theme is the same as the theme of the Vedas, which is Brahman and Dharma, right? But there's a certain standpoint with which Tulsidasji presents it. And why he says he wrote this Ramayana is basically I wrote this Ramayana to enlighten my own mind. He is writing Ramayana for himself. We are just like the byproduct benefactors of this Ramayana. He is writing it for his own mind, for his own joy, to be able to think about Bhagavan Sri Ram, to be able to develop love for Bhagavan Sri Ram in his own heart. So if we read it, what should happen to us is our heart should also be filled with love for Bhagavan Sri Rama, and it should inspire us to be like him. And if we feel like being like Bhagavan Sri Rama is too hard, then at least we should be inspired to be his bhakta, his devotee. Okay? Alright. There is actually no other text that I know of that gives such a clear and systematic understanding and presentation of Vedika Samskriti, meaning Hindu culture, as this. Now, you may wonder, well, all this is nice and dandy, but it sounds airy-fairy. Really? But in Ramayana itself, there's a section where Hanumanji goes to Sitaji. He goes to look for Sitaji in the Sita Anveshanam section, and he goes over the ocean from Bharat to Lanka. He meets Vibhishana. Vibhishana tells him where Sitaji is. He goes and he ends up on the Ashoka tree, in the Ashoka Vatika, where Sitaji is sitting. And he's a witness to a conversation between Ravana and Sitaji, where Ravana bullies her and threatens her and leaves. And he sees Sitaji go through the most depressing pain ever. So much so that she's ready to give up her life. She cannot take the pain and the sorrow that she's in anymore. And at that time, Ramachandra Guna Varanai Laga, Hanumanji started to sing the glories of Bhagavan Sri Ram. And Tulsidasji writes, Sunatahi Sita Kara Dukha Bhaga. All of Sitaji's sorrow went away. Really speaking, it is a true thing. When a person studies this Tulsi Ramayana, or listens to it even, all of their trouble and their sorrow disappears. And there's proof actually in the history of this country also. When our ancestors came here, and the way they were treated, the sorrow, the bondage, the physical suffering that they would have had to go through during the indentured laborship, after all of that, in the evening, they would take up their Ramayana and they would sing, and it's as though all of their trouble disappeared. These are stories that I have heard. So many stories from so many different families across the Caribbean share this same sentiment. It is just that people don't sit to test it. I feel sad. Study Ramayana? What? No, I'm going to go and look for a bucket of ice cream to eat to cheer myself up. So we just don't give it a chance actually. But as we read Ramayana, we fall in love with it. And every time we read it, you try for yourself. I mean, why you don't need to listen to me. You try it and see. The day that you listen to Ramayana, you study Ramayana, there is an inexplicable joy in the heart, like a lightness, a peace that cannot be justified by any other means. It is actually only people who do not know Ramayana that feel that they know Ramayana. If somebody actually knows Ramayana, they will say, I don't know it at all. I have not even scratched the surface. It happened to me actually. When I was growing up, in Ghana, at one point of time, they started to air the Ramayana on the Indian channel on Sunday mornings. So we would watch, week to week, the episodes of Ramayana, and I started to get fascinated by it. And I got a book, a tiny little book that tells the story of Ramayana. So I read that book and I said, oh, I know Ramayana now. And then one day, many years later, when I had gotten introduced to Chinmay Mission, I was invited to a yajna, a talk on Ramayana at the ashram in Chinmay Mission, Toronto. And Swami Prakashananda was doing yajna on Ramayana. And I thought, oh, I know Ramayana, but let me go and listen to it again. That is the day I got the biggest shock of my life, that there's nothing I know about Ramayana actually. Because the story is an insignificant part of what Ramayana actually is, you know? So we have barely scratched the surface of this endless, beautiful ocean of Ramayana. And there's actually a joy in knowing that this ocean is endless. Because I don't know if you grew up reading books and wishing that they didn't end, you know, feeling sad when they ended, like, oh, it's over, I wish it could continue. You can never have that feeling when you pick up Tulsi Ramayana and finish it, because there is no end. You finish it and you just start back and there's more to discover. It is so beautiful and it is so amazing. Really, the only way we're studying this is because we must have some serious punya karma and some serious grace and blessings of Bhagavan because of how precious it is. Now let me tell you, when we start to study it, you'll notice some strange things. So let me tell you a little bit about the style of this Ramayana. Every text has a style. You know, in the Upanishads, you will see that the Shishya asks a question to his Guru and then the Guru answers. Right? If there is no Shishya, the Guru plays the role of the Shishya as Purva Pakshi and he asks questions on his own and he answers it for us. How is this Tulsidasji's Ramayana written? Well, there are 4 speakers in Tulsidasji's Ramayana and there are 4 listeners, 4 Vaktas and 4 Shrotas. Right? First, in Kailash, we have Shivji himself, Bhagavan Shiva himself, narrating this Ramayana to Parvati ji. Then in Meru Parvat, we have Kakabushundi, who is a crow, and he is narrating this to Garudji, the Vahan of Bhagavan Vishnu. Then in Prayag, where the 3 rivers meet, you know, Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati, in Prayagraj, you have Yagnavalkya Rishi narrating this to Bharadwaj Muni. And then in Chitrakoot and Varanasi, Tulsidasji is the Vakta, and who is he telling? He is addressing his own mind. So there are 4 speakers and there are 4 listeners. One is the Devatas, Bhagavan himself and Parvati ji. One is the birds. One is great sages. And one is us human beings, normal human beings. Right? Now, more symbolism and then we'll see. Each of these places where they're telling the Ramayana, so there's 4 sets of speakers and listeners in 4 different places. Each place that they're telling it is considered to be a ghat. A ghat meaning a bank from which you enter a river, right? From these ghats, you enter the waters of the glory of Bhagavan Sri Rama and this Ramayana. And there are 7 steps from each ghat to reach the water. Each of those steps is the 7 kandas, the 7 chapters of the Ramayana. Before Tulsidasji starts Ramayana, he gives beautiful symbolism about all of this. Right? But now you stop and ask, why are there 4 speakers, 4 listeners, 4 ghats? Because why is it not just, if it's Shivji's composition, why did Tulsidasji just not write the whole thing as Lord Shiva said this and Parvati ji asked this and Lord Shiva said that and Parvati ji asked that? One Shrota and Bhakta would have been enough. All of a sudden you're reading and then Shivji is talking and then 5 minutes later Garudji is asking a question and then 2 pages later Yagnavalkya Rishi is saying something. Tulsidasji, why did you make it so confusing? It is because this Ramcharitmanas is a lake filled with the glories of Bhagavan Rama. And the type of people that come to this lake, they come from different directions. Not only one type of person will come. You know, if you have 4 varieties of soft drinks, after Satsanga, it is very common here, you go and you get different sweet drinks, right? So you have different flavors. There's grape and then there's orange and then there's banana and pineapple and red and whatever, all different flavors. Everybody, based on their own disposition, will gravitate to a certain flavor that they like. In fact, if there's only one flavor, you'll say, why is there only one flavor? Right? Because different people have different likes and dislikes. with food, with drinks. So not everybody's swabhava is the same, right? So if we naturally need varieties of food and drink, this is something even more subtle. Why will there not be variety in types of people who are approaching spirituality, who are approaching trying to understand who Bhagavan Sri Rama is? This thing which is way more subtle. So these 4 perspectives are there for the 4 different types of people that will exist. When Bhagavan Shiva is speaking in Kailash to Parvati ji, that is considered the Jnana Ghat, the intellectual path, the Jnana Marg. So it is a knowledge-based presentation. When Kakbhushundi ji is talking to Garud ji, that is considered the Bhakti Ghat, meaning Bhakti Marg. It appeals to the heart. Then in Prayag, where Bharadwaj Muni is listening to Yajnavalkya Rishi, that is considered Karma Ghat, or Karma Marg is the path of selfless seva. And finally, in Banaras or in Chitrakoot, where Tulsidasji is talking to his mind, well, you finish now, Karma, Bhakti, Jnana, what else is left? Tulsidasji made his own path. He called it the Dina Marg. That is the Dina Ghat. That is the path of helplessness, or the path of Rama Nama Marg. Means I chant the name of Sri Ram and I can do nothing else. I'm helpless, Bhagavan. This is all I can do. I have surrendered to you. All I can do is love you and say your name. So Tulsidasji made a 4th path called the Dina Marg. So in Ramayana, Tulsidasji keeps switching the speakers. At one point, Shivji is speaking, then Tulsidasji is speaking, then Yajnavalkya Rishi is speaking, then Garudji is speaking, right? So you go on reflecting why a certain speaker was chosen by Tulsidasji for a certain katha, right? It's very, very interesting. Each line in Ramayana is phenomenal. The other thing is that many different types of doubts can come into the mind. As you're studying, is Bhagavan Sri Ram really God? If he's God, how come he cried when he lost his wife? And how is it that if he's all-powerful, he was bound by the snakes in Lanka during the war? And, so many types of doubts could come into the mind. And the interesting thing is, because there are 4 types of listeners, all possible doubts that we could have are dealt with in the Ramayana itself. So we have 4 representatives in Ramayana raising questions on our behalf. From every aspect of our personality, they will get addressed. Okay. Now, how this Ramayana is composed is, I said it is composed in Avadhi, right? But also in every kanda is canto. I don't know, chapter is not really the right translation. In every canto or kanda, there is a Mangalacharan in the beginning, an auspicious invocation, because you need auspiciousness before you start anything. That Mangalacharan at the beginning of every kanda is written in Sanskrit. And then there are a few occasions within the kandas where you will find Sanskrit as well. For example, Rudrashtakam, when it comes in Uttarkand, that is given in Sanskrit also. But majority, the rest of Ramayana is all in Avadhi. And it is not just words strung together. Tulsidasji has given us 4 types of meters. His whole Ramayana is composed in 4 types of meters. As we go along, I'll point them out. But there's Sordha, there's Doha, there's Chaupai, and there's Chanda. And so each verse you'll see when you look at your Ramayana, it is written what type of meter the verse is. So you see that and then you know how to chant it and how to sing it. And that is another thing that makes this Ramayana so popular and so beautiful, because you can sing it in so many different types of ways. Okay. Now, there are 12,800 couplets in Tulsi Ramayana. 12,800 couplets. And every single one of them rhymes. Every single couplet rhymes. And every single one of them fits into one of the 4 meters. So you just imagine, Tulsidasji is taking concepts from all of our Shastras. He's infusing it. There's jnana and bhakti and karma and surrender woven together in one congruent poetry, all being presented in meter that rhymes 12,800 times. If we compose one thing that rhymes, we put it on the board and never forget it. I composed something. Come, see. 12,800 couplets of perfection in this Ramayana. You know, in 2018, which is some years ago now, we had started this Ramayana with the intention of studying the famous prasangas of Ramayana and any other beautiful sections that come along. Well, guess what? It is now 2025 and we have not skipped a single word yet. Because once you start, you realize that every word is too beautiful to pass over. Tulsidasji's composition is just beautiful beyond words. Okay, now, Tulsidasji's Ramayana has 7 kandas. 7 kandas, 7 cantos. There's Balakand, the kanda where Bhagavan Sri Rama grows up, is born and grows up. Don't let the name fool you. It is not just about his childhood. He is born maybe more than halfway into that kanda. There are so many things that happen before that. In fact, when you start to read Ramayana, you might wonder, am I reading the right book? Where is Bhagavan Sri Rama? So many things happen before Bhagavan Sri Rama is born in Balakand. Then comes Ayodhya Kand. Ayodhya Kand starts after Bhagavan Sri Rama's wedding, when Dashrathji has the intention to hand over the kingdom to Sri Ram. And it goes on all the way until Bharatji returns back from the forest with the Padukas of Bhagavan Sri Rama, with a promise to take care of the kingdom for 14 years in his place until he returns. Then comes Aranya Kanda, the Kanda where Bhagavan Sri Rama and Sitaji are in the forest. It is where Sitaji gets kidnapped and Bhagavan Sri Rama heads to start looking for her. Then we go to Kishkinda Kanda. Kishkinda Kanda is set in Kishkinda, where Bhagavan Sri Rama meets Hanumanji for the first time, and he makes friends with Sugriva, and he defeats Bali, and then the monkeys start to look for Sitaji. Then we come to Sundar Kanda, the beautiful Kanda. It's literally called the beautiful Kanda, because it talks about the beauty of Bhakta and Bhagavan. And in Sundar Kanda, Hanumanji jumps over the ocean and goes and looks for Sitaji. And it ends right when they figure out how they're going to build this bridge to cross to go to Lanka. Then comes Lanka Kand. Lanka Kanda is the Kanda of action. It is the Kanda of the battle. But there is so much philosophy, there is so much bhakti, even in that Kanda. And finally, Uttar Kanda. Uttar Kanda is the ending Kanda where Bhagavan Sri Rama is finally crowned king. And then there are some closing sentiments in the Ramayana. So this is how the Ramayana is laid out. This is what it is written in Avadi. This is how long it is. Tulsidasji composed it. And there are about 38 major topics in this Ramayana. Right? About 38 major topics. And the beauty of this Ramayana is that once you get the general gist of what the story is, you can actually study any prasanga and it will be just as powerful. You don't need to go, if you don't have the opportunity to, you don't need to go from the beginning. You don't need to say, oh, this Ramayana is going from the middle. Okay, I'll wait until it starts again in the Balkand after 10 years. No, you start right where, whenever you get an opportunity, wherever Ramayana is being taught, you go and you listen and you learn because it is so wonderful. So I will pause and I'll see if anyone has any questions before I continue. I'll share with you all, if you're interested, the major topics that come in this Ramayana. And then from next week, we will start to see the actual text. Okay? Those whose videos are off, by the way, please turn them on. if possible. It's really nice to see everybody. And those who are on Facebook, if you would like to join the interactive Zoom session, you just send us a message and you'll get the Zoom link for next week. Any questions anybody has? Anyone wants to ask anything? I'm going to change the setting so you can unmute. Okay, you can go ahead and unmute yourself if you want.
Hello, Ginaji. It's so good to see you.
Yes, you too.
My question is, will I be able to send the link to one of my friends because she is interested in this?
Oh, yes. Anybody is welcome. Anybody is welcome to join virtually or in person. This class is open to anybody.
Okay, and the one that you did today, the introduction, would be there on this link or on the Facebook?
So I just realized that I was asked to record it and I didn't, but it will be on Facebook for a month. So you'll find it there.
It will be on Facebook?
Yeah.
Perfect. Sounds good to me and really good to see you. We are missing you here.
Yeah, I'm missing you all too. Okay, any questions about Ramayana? If you all don't have questions, I have questions. I always have questions, don't worry. Oh, the chat. Okay, no questions. Okay, then I will ask my question. Those who have been in Satsang, Ramayana Satsang for a while, maybe you all can share some of your one thing that stands out most to you about this Tulsidasji's Ramayana. One thing in brief. And I mean, you don't have to have been in this class. If you've been studying it before, anyone can share one thing that stands out to you, or anything that you heard today also that really stands out to you about this Ramcharitmanas.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So the biggest thing is the values and the principles of life that you need to follow. Mm-hmm. And no matter what, have trust, and the values and principles are very important for us to continue with this journey.
Okay, very nice. Thank you. Anybody else? Oh, the meeting of Bhagavan Sri Rama and Hanumanji. Yes. Okay. Okay, good question. Love and Kush Kanda is not part of Tulsidasji's Ramayana actually. Tulsidasji's Ramayana ends with Bhagavan Sri Rama and Sita Ji living happily ever after. So that was the kalpa that Tulsidasji tapped into. It is not wrong, it is just a different kalpa. So Love Kush Kanda, you'll see in some of the books that Love Kush Kanda is there, but it is said that is not Tulsidasji's original composition. In Tulsidasji's Ramayana, she didn't go to the forest. Okay. All right. It seems that... Yes, go ahead, Bharati.
Hari Om, Dinaji. Yes, I really liked the 3 prasanga that you had given, Nari Dharma portion of Ramayana. There was a lot to learn in that.
Okay, I see Sumati ji mentioned it's strange to see Tulsidasji doing pranams to the bad people, but actually Tulsidasji sees Siya Rama Maya Saba Jagajani, right? He sees Bhagavan Sri Rama in this whole universe. So he cannot help but do pranams to them too, because he understands that the pairs of opposites are an inevitable part of this universe. Not only that, they are required. If you don't have Ravana, Bhagavan Sri Ram will not take avatar. you need Ravana for Bhagavan Sri Ram to come also. And so the bad people have a very important role to play in our world, in our spiritual growth, in our life, in our sadhana. Very, 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 very powerful role they have. The simplicity of
Bhagavan's
faith.
immense love for us is what attracts me about Tulsi Ramayana.
That is true. You cannot. I don't think you can find a more. I mean, I haven't studied a more beautiful way in which love is depicted between Bhakta and Bhagavan than this Ramayana. Yeah. Okay, well, since everyone is in a quiet mood today, which is perfectly fine, what I will do is I will share with you all, just for completeness of this topic, the different sections under each kanda. For your interest. If you're interested, then you will, I don't know, if some people like to get a big picture of what this Ramayana actually is about, right? In Balakanda, after Tulsidasji does his invocations, first he talks about Guru Mahima. The first thing he does is describes the glory of the Guru. And he does pranams to Guru. Then he does pranams to all the different people and things in this world. Then he talks about Rama Nama Mahima. You will not find another place where the name of Bhagavan Ram, the name of Bhagavan, is done pranams to, is given a pedestal, right? And he talks about how chanting the name of Bhagavan removes the problems in our life. A beautiful long section on that. Then comes Rama Katha Mahima, the glories of listening to the story of Bhagavan Sri Rama. Then Satsang Mahima, the glory of Satsang. He talks about that too. Then only he goes into the topic of Shiva Parvati Vivaha. This is a huge section in Balakand, where Bhagavan Shiva is first married to Satima. And in a whole string of events, she plays the role of a doubting jiva who doesn't have Shraddha, and she ends up destroying herself. And then Parvati Ma, she comes back as Parvati Ma. So first she was Shraddha Rahita asking questions, then she became Shraddha Sahita asking questions as Parvati Ma. And in that whole journey, we see the coming together of Shraddha and Vishwas. Shiva Parvati Vivaha happens. Bhagavan Shiva and Parvati ji get married in Ramayana. Before Bhagavan Sri Rama is born, they get married. Then they start a conversation, and Bhagavan Shiva tells Parvati ji all different reasons for Rama's Janma. So many reasons he lists. Then only finally, having introduced Ravana as one of the reasons for Ram Janma, and the Devatas go and make an appeal to Bhagavan, then Rama Janma takes place. Bhagavan Sri Rama is born. Once he is born, we see his Shishu Leela, we see his schooling, even though it's a very short section. Then Yajna Raksha, how Vishwamitra Rishi comes and takes him to protect the yajna of that they're doing from the Rakshasas. And then after that, when they head to Mithila, Ahalya Udhar, how Ahalya comes back to being a human being after being a stone. Then Shiva Dhanush Bhanga, he breaks the bow and he marries Sita ji in Sitaram Vivaha. And that is when Balakand ends. So many things. See how many things happened before Bhagavan Sri Rama is born. Then in Ayodhya Kand, of course we know Bhagavan Sri Rama is banished. That's Rama Vanvas. Then Bhagavan Sri Rama speaks to Kausalya Ma. That is another famous section in her response to his exile and all of that. Then they go to the forest, they meet Guha, and then we get Lakshmana Gita, where the same Lakshmana who is talking bad about his father is telling Guha that everything operates based on your own karma and don't blame Kaikeyi. Very, very interesting string of events. Then Bhagavan Sri Ram meets Kevat in Ram Kevat Milap. Then he meets Valmiki ji, and Valmiki ji tells him the 14 homes where he can live. Then Bharat ji comes back and finds out all of this has happened. Oh, before that, Dashrata Dehanta happens. Dashrata finally gives up his life because he cannot live without Bhagavan Sri Ram. Then Ram Bharat Milap. Bharat ji insists that the right ruler is Bhagavan Ram and he's going to bring him back. And in this section, you actually start to get confused about whether you should love Bhagavan Sri Rama or Bharatji more because of how moving this section is and what a wonderful bhakta the Bharatji is. Then with that, Ayodhya Kanda finishes. Then we come to Aranya Kanda. In Aranya Kanda, it starts with Jayant Prasanga, where the son of Indra is testing the power of Bhagavan Sri Rama. Then Bhagavan Sri Rama meets so many different rishis in the forest. Atri Rishi, Anasuyaji, Sitaji meets with her and she gives her Nari Dharma at that time. Means Anasuyaji gives Sitaji Nari Dharma. He meets Sutikshna, a child-like devotee. Then Bhagavan Sri Ram gives Ram Gita to Lakshmanji. Then finally, Shurpanaka features and Sitaji is kidnapped. And right here is where we have reached since 2018. Sitaji is just about to be kidnapped now after all of these years. So we're going to see how she's kidnapped and how Jatayu tries to save her and how he dies. And then we will see how Bhagavan Sri Ram meets Shabari and gives her Navada Bhakti. Then Bhagavan Sri Rama has a dialogue with Naradji and Aranya Kanda finishes. Then comes Kishkinda Kand. In Kishkinda Kand, Bhagavan Sri Ram meets Hanumanji. Then he kills Bali. And then all the monkeys go looking for Sitaji. Then we come to Sundarkand. Well, in Sundarkand, it starts with Hanumanji's journey to Lanka, demonstrating the Jiva's journey over this ocean of samsara to peace. We see how Hanumanji meets Vibhishana and they have satsang. Then we see Hanuman Sita Milan when Hanumanji meets Sitaji. Then we see Hanumanji getting trapped and taken to meet Ravana. And in a most hilarious dialogue, there's Hanuman Ravana Samvada. Then Hanumanji burns down Lanka in Lanka Dahan. And then we see how Vibhishana comes and surrenders to Bhagavan Ram. Vibhishana Sharanagati. And with that, wraps up Sundarkand. Then comes Lanka Kand, where they build a bridge, they cross the bridge, they give Ravana a few more chances to surrender, to give back Sitaji, and then there's a big, huge Rama-Ravana Yuddha, in which Vibhishana Gita also comes. Then we come to Uttar Kanda, which is the final Kanda, where Bhagavan Sri Rama's Abhishek happens, finally, 14 years later. Then he gives Purajana Gita. He tells the citizens of Ayodhya how to live. And then the final dialogue between Kakabushundi and Garudji. And in that, you see, and in this Uttarkand, all kinds of scary things are given also, like what is going to happen in Kali Yuga as it proceeds, and so many things come in this section. So this is a whole picture of Ramayana. So now wherever you start, having in your mind what the whole thing looks like, you can appreciate any part of it, right? All right. This is a brief introduction to the most beautiful Ramayana. In fact, anybody who loves Ramayana, if they start to describe why they love it, they cannot put it into words. Tulsidasji says that often, he says that I'm lost for words in describing this. But he's Tulsidasji, so he actually finds words to describe it. Unlike us, we're lost for words and we actually are lost for words. But the feeling that is there in the heart cannot be negated in any way, shape, or form. There's something very, very special about this Ramcharitmanas, and the more you study it, the more you love it. So we'll be picking up from Aranya Kanda for those who've been in class, and we will be starting from Aranya Kanda for those who are joining us for the first time. But like I said, it actually doesn't matter where you start. Every part of this Ramayana is just so beautiful. Okay? All right. I'll do one Om, and then I'll open up if anyone wants to share any final thoughts before we do closing. Okay. Om. Okay, the floor is yours, Zoomers. Kanchan's not here to pick on. Yeah, then tell her I said that. Okay, quiet batch today, no problem. Then we'll do closing prayer and we'll see everybody next week. Please come with your Ramayana. I will send a PDF out so everybody can have a copy if you don't have the physical Ramayana. Okay? It's so nice to be back in Satsang. It's so nice to be back in Satsang with everybody. And those who are joining for the first time, I'm really looking forward to our study of Ramayana together. I don't know if you picked it up, but I love Bhagavad Gita, but I have a special spot in my heart for Ramayana. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. बोलिए सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। हर हर नमः पार्वती पतये, हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम तत्सत। हरि ओम। हरि ओम।
Hari Om, thank you.